Ravi lived in a small house at the edge of a quiet town. He enjoyed the calm and peace around his home. His backyard was not very big, but it had an old tree that gave shade in the afternoons. The garden was empty, with only a few weeds growing here and there. One morning, Ravi decided he wanted to make the backyard more beautiful. He wanted to plant flowers and vegetables. He believed that spending time with soil and plants would make him feel happier. Ravi wore his old shirt and started carrying his shovel outside. The sun was just rising, and a soft breeze moved through the air. Birds were singing in the trees and everything seemed normal. Ravi looked at the spot near the tree where he wanted to dig. The ground looked soft, but he had no idea that something hidden deep below would soon change his life. He held the shovel tightly and pressed it into the soil. At first it was easy. The dirt was soft and the smell of earth filled his nose. Ravi smiled as he lifted clumps of soil and threw them aside. He imagined the colorful flowers that would bloom here in a few weeks. He imagined fresh tomatoes and carrots ready to pick. He thought about how nice it would be to sit under the tree and enjoy his small garden. After some time, the shovel hit something hard. Ravi stopped and frowned. He brushed away the dirt and looked closer. His heart began to beat faster. The hard surface was not a rock. It was something else, something buried long ago. He touched it with his hand and it felt like old wood. Ravi's curiosity grew stronger. He wondered what it could be. Was it a box, a piece of furniture, or something else? He decided to dig more carefully. He removed more soil around the object. It took hours because the ground was heavy and full of roots from the old tree. Sweat ran down his face, but Ravi did not give up. His mind was filled with questions. Who had put this here? How long had it been buried? He felt a mix of fear and excitement. The sun was high in the sky now, and the shadows of the tree moved slowly on the ground. Finally, Ravi cleared enough soil to see a wooden box. It was old and cracked, and it smelled damp. The box had metal hinges, but they were rusty. Ravi carefully lifted it from the ground. It was heavier than he expected. He placed it on the grass and wiped the dirt off. His hands shook a little because he did not know what to expect inside. Ravi looked around to make sure no one was watching. He felt like he was about to discover a secret that was meant to stay hidden. Slowly, he opened the lid. Inside, he saw old letters, photographs, and small trinkets. The letters were yellowed with age, and the photographs were black and white. He picked up the first letter. The handwriting was old-fashioned, but it was still clear enough to read. He could feel that these items were very important to someone long ago. As he examined the box, Ravi realized that he had found something more than just old objects. He had found a story from the past. Each letter seemed to speak to him. The photographs showed people he did not know, but they looked happy in the pictures. There were small objects too, like a silver locket and a tiny key. Everything felt like it had a purpose. Ravi could not stop looking at the box. He felt like he had uncovered a small piece of history hidden beneath his backyard. The sun was beginning to set and the sky turned orange and pink. Ravi decided to take the box inside. He carefully carried it to his living room and placed it on the table. He wanted to study it in better light. He sat down and picked up the letters again. His eyes moved from one word to another. The handwriting told stories of life, love, and secrets. Ravi's imagination ran wild. He could almost see the people from the letters walking in his backyard. Ravi realized that his small decision to dig a garden had led him to something extraordinary. What had started as a simple task now seemed like the beginning of an adventure. He felt both excited and nervous about what he might discover next. He knew that the wooden box was only the start, and that the backyard held more secrets waiting to be uncovered. Ravi could not wait to continue digging tomorrow and find out what other mysteries lay beneath the earth. The next morning, Ravi woke up early. The sunlight streamed through his window and birds sang loudly in the trees. He could not stop thinking about the wooden box he had found the day before. His curiosity was stronger than ever. He made a cup of tea and carried it to the living room, where the box sat on the table. Ravi wanted to explore the contents more carefully. He hoped the letters and objects would tell him a story about the person who had hidden them so many years ago. He sat down and opened the first letter. The paper was fragile and the ink had faded in some places. Ravi held it gently so it would not tear. The letter was written by a woman named Mira. She wrote about her daily life, her hopes, and her small joys. She described the garden where she once lived and the tree in the backyard that she loved the most. Ravi realized that the garden he had been digging was the same place Mira had written about. He felt a strange connection to her, as if she was speaking to him from the past. As he continued reading, Ravi discovered that Mira had a secret. She wrote about a hidden treasure that she had carefully buried in the backyard. She wanted to keep it safe from people who might take it away. Her letters were filled with hints and clues about its location. Ravi's heart began to beat faster. Could the treasure still be in his backyard? He felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The thought that he might uncover something valuable made him eager to continue. Ravi picked up a photograph from the box. It was black and white and showed a young woman standing near a tree. The woman in the picture looked happy and peaceful. Ravi stared at the photo for a long time. He imagined Mira standing there, hiding her treasure and dreaming about the future. He felt that he could almost see her moving in the backyard as if she had never left. The feeling was strange but exciting, and Ravi wanted to know more about her story. He decided to follow the clues from the letters. Mira had written about a special spot in the garden, marked by shadows and sunlight. Ravi remembered the old tree in the corner of his backyard. He realized that the shadow of the tree changed as the sun moved across the sky. Perhaps the clue was related to the tree's shadow. Ravi felt a thrill of anticipation. The idea that the treasure could be buried somewhere nearby made him eager to start digging again. Ravi spent the rest of the day preparing his tools. He sharpened his shovel and brought a small brush for cleaning dirt. He made a map of the garden, marking places mentioned in the letters. He wanted to be careful because he did not want to damage anything that might be hidden. Ravi felt like an explorer on a mission. Each step he took in the backyard made him feel closer to discovering something incredible. As the sun began to set, Ravi paused and looked around the garden. The shadows of the tree stretched long across the ground. He studied the patterns carefully, trying to match them with Mira's clues. He noticed that one shadow pointed to a small patch of earth near the old tree. It seemed ordinary, but Ravi felt it held a secret. He marked the spot and planned to dig the next morning. His mind was full of excitement and he could hardly wait to start. That night, Ravi could not sleep. He thought about Mira and her life. Her letters spoke of love, hope, and courage. She had carefully hidden her treasure, leaving clues for someone she trusted to find it. Ravi wondered if he was the person she had imagined. The mystery of the letters and the photograph kept him awake. He imagined uncovering the treasure and holding it in his hands. He also imagined the feeling of discovering a story from the past that no one had known for decades. Ravi knew that tomorrow would be an important day. He felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness, but he also felt ready. The wooden box had opened a new world for him, full of mystery and history. He understood that the garden was not just a place for flowers and vegetables anymore. It had become a place of secrets waiting to be discovered. Ravi could not stop thinking about what might lie beneath the soil, and he knew that his life was about to change in ways he could not yet imagine. The next morning, Ravi woke up feeling eager and restless. He could hardly wait to return to the backyard and follow the clues from Mira's letters. He quickly had breakfast and carried his tools outside. The sun was just rising, and the first light of the day fell on the old tree. Ravi studied the shadows carefully, remembering Mira's words about where the shadows meet at sunrise. He watched the tree's shadow stretch across the garden and noticed how it moved slowly as the sun rose higher. He believed that the treasure must be hidden where the shadow ended. Ravi began digging carefully at the spot marked by the shadow. The soil was soft at the top, but as he dug deeper, it became harder. He worked slowly, making sure not to damage anything that could be hidden below. Sweat ran down his forehead, but he did not stop. Each scoop of soil brought him closer to the mystery that had been buried for decades. His hands ached, but his mind was full of excitement and curiosity. He could not wait to discover what lay beneath the surface. After several hours, his shovel hit something solid. Ravi froze for a moment. His heart began to beat faster. He brushed away the dirt and saw a small metal box partially buried in the ground. It was old but sturdy, and it had a rusty lock. Ravi knelt down and examined it carefully. He realized that this must be the treasure Mira had written about in her letters. His hands shook slightly as he tried to open the lock. With a gentle twist, it clicked open. Inside, he found a collection of old coins, sparkling stones, and a silver key. Each piece seemed carefully placed, as if it had a story of its own. Ravi lifted the coins and examined them one by one. Some of them were old and rare, with faces of kings and inscriptions he had never seen before. The stones were smooth and bright, reflecting the sunlight. He held the silver key in his hand, turning it over slowly. It was beautiful and finely made, with small patterns engraved on it. Ravi wondered what the key could open. The letters mentioned a secret chamber, but he did not know where it might be hidden. He realized that the mystery was far from over feeling curious. Ravi decided to explore the rest of the garden. He remembered another phrase from Mira's letters. Follow the path of stones and the truth will show itself. He looked around carefully and noticed a small line of stones near the edge of the backyard. He had never paid attention to them before, but now they seemed important. He followed the path of stones and saw that it led to a small patch of earth near the fence. The soil here looked slightly different, and he felt a strange energy as he touched it. He believed there was more to discover beneath this spot. Ravi spent the rest of the afternoon digging at the new spot. The work was hard and his arms grew tired, but he did not stop. His determination to uncover the secrets of the garden gave him strength. He imagined Mira's life and wondered why she had hidden her treasures so carefully. He imagined her walking through the garden, hiding objects and leaving clues for someone who would find them in the future. The thought gave him a strange feeling, as if he was connected to her across time. As the sun began to set, Ravi paused to rest. He placed the metal box and the silver key carefully on the grass and looked around the backyard. The shadows of the old tree stretched long across the ground, and the air felt calm and still. He realized that his small garden project had turned into something extraordinary. The letters, the boxes, and the clues had created a story full of mystery, history, and adventure. He felt lucky to be the one to uncover it. That evening, Ravi brought the treasures inside his house. He carefully cleaned the coins and stones and placed them on the table. He read the letters again, hoping to understand more about Mira and her life. Each word in her handwriting seemed to come alive. She wrote about her dreams, her fears, and her courage. Ravi felt inspired by her determination to protect her secrets. He realized that he was not just discovering a treasure, but also learning about a life full of hope and perseverance. Ravi could not stop thinking about the silver key. He wondered what it might open and what secrets it could reveal. He decided to keep it safe until he could figure out its purpose. The day had been long and exhausting, but it was also exciting and full of wonder. Ravi knew that the backyard still held more mysteries, and he could not wait to continue exploring. The story of Mira, her treasure, and the secret garden had become a part of his life, and he felt a new sense of adventure he had never experienced before. The next morning, Ravi woke up with a feeling of excitement he had never felt before. The sunlight poured into his room and the birds sang cheerfully outside. He quickly got ready, grabbed his tools, and went to the backyard. His mind was filled with thoughts about the metal box, the coins, and the silver key he had found the day before. He also remembered the letters from Mira and her clues about a secret chamber hidden somewhere in the garden. Today he was determined to uncover more of the mystery. Ravi studied the garden carefully. The old tree in the corner cast long shadows across the ground. He remembered Mira's words about shadows and sunlight. He waited for the sun to rise higher, so he could see exactly where the shadow pointed. After a few minutes, he noticed that the shadow touched a small, uneven patch of earth near the fence. This patch looked different from the rest of the garden. The soil was slightly darker and softer, as if someone had recently disturbed it. Ravi felt a thrill of anticipation. He believed that this was the next clue. He began digging slowly and carefully at the spot. The soil was soft at first, but soon it became harder as he reached deeper layers. Ravi worked patiently, making sure not to damage anything that might be hidden. Hours passed and the sun climbed high in the sky. Sweat ran down his face, but he did not stop. He felt a strong connection to Mira, imagining her carefully hiding treasures and leaving clues for someone who would find them in the future. He wanted to honor her story by being careful and respectful. After some time, Ravi's shovel hit something solid. He stopped and brushed away the soil to see what it was. Beneath the earth, he discovered the corner of a stone entrance. It was small and hidden, almost invisible unless someone knew where to look. Ravi's heart beat faster. He realized that this must be the secret chamber Mira had written about in her letters. He carefully cleared the soil around the entrance, making it visible. The stones were old but sturdy, and the entrance led downward. Ravi felt both nervous and excited. He had no idea what he would find inside. Ravi took a deep breath and knelt at the entrance. He carefully examined it, making sure it was safe to enter. Then he lowered himself into the small space. The chamber was narrow at first, but it opened into a slightly larger room underground. The walls were lined with old shelves covered with dust and cobwebs. On the shelves, Ravi saw many objects similar to what he had found in the boxes. There were more coins, small trinkets, and old letters stacked neatly. The air smelled of earth and time, and it felt calm and quiet inside. Ravi realized that no one had been here for decades. He explored the chamber carefully. Each item he picked up seemed to tell a story. There were letters with dates going back many years, photographs of people he did not know, and small objects that looked like they had belonged to Mira. He felt as if he had stepped back in time. The silver key he had found earlier seemed important, and Ravi wondered if it could open another hidden compartment in the room. He examined the shelves closely, looking for any locks or small doors. The chamber was full of mysteries, and each discovery made his heart race. Ravi spent hours in the chamber, carefully reading the letters and looking at the objects. He learned more about Mira's life, her struggles, and her courage. She had hidden her treasures to protect them from people who might take them. Her words showed her intelligence and determination, and Ravi felt inspired by her strength. He realized that this discovery was not just about finding valuable objects, but also about connecting with someone from the past and understanding her story. As the afternoon sun began to fade, Ravi decided to take some of the items upstairs. He carefully carried the letters, coins, and trinkets out of the chamber. He made sure to leave most of the objects where they were, knowing that this secret room was part of history and should be preserved. Back in the sunlight, Ravi looked at the entrance one more time. He felt proud of himself for discovering it and grateful for the chance to learn about Mira's life. The garden had become a place of history, mystery, and wonder. That evening, Ravi sat in his living room with the items he had brought from the chamber. He arranged them carefully on the table and read the letters again. Each word seemed to speak directly to him. He imagined Mira walking in the garden, hiding her treasures and dreaming about the future. Ravi felt connected to her story in a way he could not explain. The experience had changed his life, and he knew that the garden was no longer just a place for flowers and vegetables. It was a place full of secrets, stories, and history waiting to be discovered. Ravi felt a strong sense of purpose. He wanted to preserve the chamber and its treasures and learn more about Mira's life. He understood that his simple decision to dig a garden had led him to a remarkable adventure. The discovery had filled him with excitement, curiosity, and respect for the past. Ravi realized that there was still more to uncover in the garden, and he could not wait for the next day to continue exploring. The next morning, Ravi woke up with a sense of excitement and purpose. He could hardly wait to return to the backyard and continue following the clues from Mira's letters. The discovery of the secret chamber had filled him with curiosity, and he wanted to explore it further. He prepared his tools carefully, including a small brush for cleaning objects and a notebook to record his findings. He also carried the silver key, wondering if it would unlock another secret hidden in the garden. Ravi stepped into the backyard and looked at the old tree. Its shadow stretched across the ground, and the morning sunlight made the garden look peaceful and calm. He studied the chamber entrance he had uncovered the day before. He carefully brushed away some dirt and looked inside. The room still held the letters, coins, and trinkets he had found earlier. Ravi felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He wondered if there were more treasures hidden in the soil around the chamber. He decided to dig a little closer to the edges of the chamber. The soil was soft and his shovel easily moved it aside. After a while, he hit something solid again. Ravi knelt down and brushed away the dirt carefully. Beneath the earth, he discovered a small metal box, similar to the one he had found before. It was old and heavy with a sturdy lock. Ravi's hands shook slightly as he picked it up and placed it on the grass. He knew this could be another important part of Mira's secret. Ravi examined the lock on the box. The silver key in his hand seemed like it could fit. He carefully inserted the key and turned it slowly. The lock clicked open and Ravi lifted the lid. Inside, he found more old coins, sparkling stones, and a few small objects wrapped in cloth. Each piece seemed carefully arranged, as if Mira had placed them there with care. Ravi picked up one of the coins and studied it closely. It was old and rare, with markings he had never seen before. He realized that Mira's treasures were not only valuable, but also historical. Among the objects, Ravi noticed a small journal. The cover was worn and the pages were yellowed with age. He opened it carefully and began to read. The journal belonged to Mira, and it contained her personal thoughts, dreams, and experiences. She wrote about her life in the house, the garden she loved, and the challenges she had faced. Ravi felt like he was stepping into her world, experiencing her life through her words. He could almost hear her voice and see her walking in the garden, protecting her treasures and leaving clues for the future. Ravi spent hours studying the contents of the metal box. Each coin, stone, and object seemed to have a story. Some coins had faces of kings from long ago, while others had symbols he did not recognize. The stones were smooth and bright, reflecting the sunlight. There were also small trinkets like a silver locket and tiny figurines, each placed carefully in the box. Ravi realized that Mira had hidden not just material treasures, but pieces of her life and memories. He felt honored to have discovered them and wanted to preserve them carefully. After examining the box, Ravi decided to explore the area around the chamber further. He remembered another clue from Mira's letters about a path of stones that leads to the heart of the garden. He looked around and noticed a line of stones near the far end of the backyard. He followed the path slowly, brushing away leaves and dirt as he went. The path led to a small patch of earth that looked different from the rest of the garden. The soil was darker, and it felt slightly softer under his hands. Ravi knew that something important might be hidden there. He began digging carefully at the spot. The soil was soft at the top but became harder as he dug deeper. Hours passed and Ravi felt tired, but he did not stop. His determination to uncover Mira's secrets gave him strength. Finally, his shovel hit a solid object. He brushed away the soil and discovered a small chest made of wood. The chest was old and worn, but it looked sturdy. Ravi opened it carefully and found more coins, stones, and letters. Each item was perfectly preserved, as if Mira had prepared them for someone special to find many years later as the sun began to set. Ravi sat back and looked at the treasures he had uncovered. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction and wonder. The backyard, which had seemed ordinary at first, had become a place full of history, mystery, and adventure. Ravi realized that his life had changed. He had discovered not just treasures, but stories from the past and a connection to Mira's life. He decided to keep the treasures safe and continue exploring the garden, following her clues to uncover even more of her hidden secrets. That evening, Ravi carefully arranged the coins, stones, and letters on a table inside his house. He read the journal again, learning more about Mira's life, her courage, and her determination to protect her treasures. Ravi felt inspired by her story. He understood that the real treasure was not just the objects she had hidden, but the story of her life, her dreams, and the mystery she had left behind. The discovery had filled him with excitement, curiosity, and respect for the past, and he knew that there were still more secrets waiting to be found the next morning. Ravi woke up feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity. The discoveries he had made in the backyard had changed his view of the place completely. It was no longer just a garden for flowers or vegetables. It was a place filled with history, secrets, and stories waiting to be uncovered. He drank his tea quickly and grabbed his tools, the silver key and his notebook. Today, he planned to focus on understanding what the silver key might open. Ravi stepped into the backyard and looked around carefully. The sun was rising, and the old tree cast long shadows across the garden. He remembered Mira's words from one of the letters. The key will open what the heart seeks most. He wondered what she meant by that. Could it be another hidden box, a small compartment, or something entirely different? Ravi felt a shiver of excitement as he imagined the possibilities. His eyes scanned the garden, looking for anything unusual or out of place. After some time, Ravi noticed a small stone ledge near the back wall of the house. It had been partly hidden by dirt and weeds. He felt drawn to it and decided to investigate. As he brushed away the soil, he discovered a small metal plate with a keyhole. His heart began to beat faster. Could this be what the silver key was meant to open? Ravi carefully inserted the key and turned it slowly. The lock clicked, and a small panel in the wall slid open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside the compartment, Ravi found a bundle of old letters and a small, intricately carved wooden box. The box was locked, but the silver key had already opened the panel so he could access it easily. He picked up the box and examined it. The craftsmanship was beautiful, and it felt heavy in his hands. He carefully opened it and discovered a collection of objects unlike anything he had seen before. There were old coins, sparkling stones, a tiny compass, and a small journal written in careful handwriting. Ravi realized that Mira had hidden these items with great care, and each one seemed to have a story attached. Ravi opened the journal and began reading. It contained detailed accounts of Mira's life, her thoughts, and her dreams. She wrote about the challenges she faced, the people she loved, and the joy she found in small things. The journal also mentioned the garden and the treasures she had hidden there. Ravi felt a deep connection to her as he read the words. It was as if she was speaking to him directly, guiding him through the secrets she had kept for decades. Each page made him more eager to uncover everything she had left behind. After reading for a while, Ravi decided to explore more of the backyard. He followed another clue from Mira's letters about a hidden path where only the brave may walk. He carefully examined the area near the old tree and noticed a small gap between the roots. It looked unusual, and Ravi felt it was worth investigating. He cleared the soil and small stones, revealing a narrow tunnel leading slightly underground. Ravi hesitated for a moment, then crawled inside. The space was tight, but he could see that it opened into a small room lined with shelves. The shelves were filled with more objects, letters, and photographs. Ravi carefully picked up each item, cleaning off the dust and arranging them on a cloth. He discovered coins from distant lands, small jewelry pieces, and trinkets that seemed personal and meaningful. Some of the letters were addressed to people he had never heard of, but the handwriting and care in the words made him feel the emotions behind them. Ravi realized that Mira had created this hidden chamber not just for treasure, but to preserve memories and stories that mattered deeply to her. Ravi spent the afternoon studying everything he had found. He carefully noted the details in his notebook, making sketches of the objects and recording dates and descriptions from the letters. Each discovery made him feel more connected to Mira. He imagined her life in this house, tending the garden, hiding treasures, and leaving clues for someone to find. Ravi felt honored to be the person who had uncovered her secrets and stories. He understood that this experience was teaching him patience, respect, and the importance of history. As the sun began to set, Ravi finally rested. He carried the objects and letters inside his house and arranged them on the table. He reread the journal and letters, reflecting on everything he had learned. Mira's courage, thoughtfulness, and attention to detail impressed him deeply. He realized that the true value of the treasures was not in their material worth, but in the stories, memories, and emotions they represented. The next morning, Ravi woke up with a mixture of excitement and determination. He could feel that today he would uncover more secrets hidden in the garden. The discoveries he had made so far had changed the backyard into a place of mystery and history. Each treasure and letter from Mira seemed to lead him closer to something even greater. He packed his tools carefully, including the silver key, his notebook, and a small brush for cleaning objects. Ravi stepped into the garden and looked around carefully. The old tree in the corner still stood tall, its shadow stretching across the ground. He remembered Mira's words about a path that reveals itself to the patient. He examined the garden slowly, paying attention to every detail. The small stones, the patches of unusual soil, and the roots of the tree all seemed to form a pattern. Ravi followed the path of the stones again, noticing how they led toward a corner near the back wall of the house. This part of the garden had been overgrown with weeds, but he carefully cleared them away. As he cleared the area, Ravi noticed something unusual. A flat stone was slightly raised compared to the others around it. He knelt down and tapped it gently. It moved slightly, revealing a small hollow beneath. Ravi's heart beat faster. Could this be another hidden compartment? He carefully removed the stone and peered inside. There was a small, narrow space just large enough for a box or an object to fit. Ravi reached in and pulled out a wooden chest. It was smaller than the previous boxes, but it felt heavy and important. Ravi placed the chest on the grass and examined it. The wood was old but well crafted, and it had a simple latch. He tried the silver key and it fit perfectly. The lock clicked open and he lifted the lid. Inside he found a collection of letters, coins, and small trinkets. Each item seemed carefully arranged, as if Mira had planned for someone to find them long after she was gone. Ravi picked up a letter and began reading. The handwriting was delicate and the words spoke of love, hope, and careful planning. Mira had written about her dreams, the treasures she hid, and the importance of keeping them safe. Among the objects in the chest, Ravi noticed a small map. It was hand-drawn and showed the backyard with marks and symbols he had never seen before. He studied it carefully and realized that it pointed to another location in the garden. His excitement grew. Could there be more treasures hidden nearby? He traced the lines with his finger, comparing the map to the garden in front of him. The map led toward a large patch of soil near the old tree, a spot he had not examined closely before. Ravi began digging at the marked spot. The soil was soft at the top but became harder as he dug deeper. He worked slowly, making sure not to damage anything that might be hidden. Hours passed and he felt tired, but his determination pushed him forward. Suddenly, his shovel hit something solid. Ravi knelt down and brushed the soil away. Beneath the earth, he discovered a small stone box partially buried. He carefully removed it and placed it on the grass. The box was heavy and it had a lock similar to the others he had opened. He tried the silver key again and it worked perfectly. The box opened, revealing a small collection of rare coins, shiny stones, and a few old trinkets. Ravi examined each item carefully. Some coins were from distant lands and the stones sparkled in the sunlight. There were also letters carefully folded and tied with string. Each letter revealed more about Mira's life and her careful planning to protect her treasures. Ravi felt a deep connection to her as he read the words, imagining her hiding these items with hope and determination. After examining the box, Ravi looked around the garden. The backyard, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place of history, mystery, and adventure. He realized that Mira had hidden her treasures thoughtfully, leaving clues for someone patient and curious enough to discover them. Ravi felt proud of himself for uncovering the secrets so far, but he also knew that there was more to find. The map he had discovered suggested that the garden still held unknown surprises. As the sun began to set, Ravi carefully carried the boxes and letters inside his house. He arranged them on the table and began studying the map again. The garden held more clues, and the treasures were only part of the story. Ravi could feel that the journey was far from over. Each discovery taught him patience, curiosity, and respect for the past. He knew that by following Mira's clues, he was uncovering not just objects, but the story of her life and the care she had taken to preserve it. That night, Ravi could hardly sleep. His mind was full of thoughts about the garden, the treasures, and the map. He imagined what he would find the next day and wondered how much of Mira's story remained hidden. The silver key, the letters, and the boxes had changed the backyard into a place of wonder and mystery. Ravi felt lucky to be the one discovering her secrets. He understood that the real treasure was not just the objects, but the story, memories, and history that Mira had left behind. The next morning, Ravi woke up feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation. Today, he was determined to uncover the last secrets hidden in the backyard. The discoveries he had made so far had changed the garden completely. What had started as a small project to plant flowers had turned into an adventure full of history, mystery, and treasures. Ravi packed his tools carefully, bringing the silver key, his notebook, and a small brush for cleaning objects. He wanted to explore every corner of the garden with care. Ravi stepped into the backyard and looked around. The sun was rising, casting soft light across the old tree in the garden. The shadows fell in patterns he had learned to follow from Mira's letters and the map she had drawn. He studied the ground carefully, looking for anything unusual. His eyes were drawn to a patch of soil near the back fence. It looked slightly different from the rest of the garden. The soil was darker and softer, as if something important lay beneath it. Ravi felt a thrill of excitement as he prepared to dig. He began digging slowly and carefully. The soil moved easily at first, but deeper down it became harder. Ravi worked patiently, clearing away each layer of earth with care. His hands were tired, but his determination kept him going. Hours passed, and finally his shovel hit something solid. Ravi brushed away the soil and discovered a large wooden chest. It was heavier than any box he had found before, and it had an old, intricate lock. His heart raced as he realized this could be the final treasure that Mira had left behind. Ravi examined the lock carefully. He held the silver key in his hand and slowly inserted it. With a gentle turn, the lock clicked open. He lifted the lid and looked inside. The chest was filled with objects unlike anything he had seen so far. There were old coins, sparkling stones, letters, photographs, and personal belongings of Mira. Each item seemed carefully preserved, as if she had prepared them for someone to discover many years later. Ravi could feel the history and care in every object he touched among the items. Ravi noticed a small diary with a beautifully decorated cover. He opened it carefully and began reading. The diary contained Mira's thoughts, dreams, and experiences. She wrote about her life in the house, the joys and challenges she faced, and the reasons she had hidden her treasures. Ravi realized that the objects were not just valuable but also deeply meaningful. Each coin, letter, and trinket told a story. He felt as if Mira was speaking directly to him, sharing her life across time. Ravi spent hours exploring the contents of the chest. He examined each item carefully and recorded details in his notebook. He looked at the photographs, imagining the people in them and the stories behind their smiles. The letters revealed more about Mira's careful planning and her desire to preserve memories. Ravi understood that she had hidden these treasures to protect them and to leave a story for someone patient and curious enough to discover it. He felt honored to be the one who had found her secrets. After studying the chest, Ravi looked around the garden. The backyard, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place full of history, mystery, and adventure. He realized that every treasure, letter, and object was part of a larger story. Mira had carefully designed the clues, the maps, and the hiding places to create an experience for the person who would find them. Ravi felt proud of himself for uncovering so much. But he also knew that the true value was in understanding her life and preserving her story. Ravi decided to organize the treasures carefully in his house. He arranged the coins, stones, letters, and photographs on a large table and studied them one more time. He reread the diary and letters, reflecting on Mira's life. Her courage, thoughtfulness, and care impressed him deeply. He realized that the adventure had taught him patience, respect for history, and the joy of discovery. The garden was no longer just a backyard. It was a place filled with memories, stories, and treasures waiting to be shared with others. By the evening, Ravi felt a sense of peace and satisfaction. He had uncovered Mira's treasures, explored the hidden chamber, and followed all the clues she had left behind. He understood that the real treasure was not only the objects but the story, the memories, and the life she had shared through her careful planning. He decided to preserve everything and share Mira's story with the local museum so that people could learn about her life and the secrets she had hidden. That night, Ravi looked out of his window at the garden. The old tree cast soft shadows in the moonlight, and the air felt calm and quiet. He felt